Is fear keeping you from connecting with your heart and living the best version of your life? Hi, I'm Arjuna O'Neal, CEO of Mind Elevation, and today I'd like to share with you the top 10 life lessons that I've used to connect to my heart and share with you just my upbringing, a little bit of my background. Young boy, sexually abused, experienced a lot of trauma growing up, turned 17 in a mental institution based on the trauma and the sexual abuse as a kid. At 19, I was fatally shot where I died, made the news. I had a second chance at life, experienced being paralyzed for a year after that, and that's when my journey started. When I really started looking at the mindset and the type of things I was saying, listening to, and doing, and the people that I kept around me. And what has happened now is from those experiences, I want to share with you the top 10 life lessons from those traumatic experiences and how I was able to gain mobility in my leg again, continue to walk, thrive in life, and how I was able to change my life and create a business. But one of the most important things that I understood was master your heart, master your life. The power of the heart and why it's so important. The electric field of the heart is 60 times more powerful than the brain. When the brain and the heart work together, they say you become unstoppable at anything that you acquire to do in your life. And for me, the way I was raised and the way I grew up, I learned that it wasn't until the heart connection, until I was able to live in my heart, until I was able to understand the relationship between the heart and the brain and how it functioned, that I was able to start fixing my life, correcting my life. And what I understood was that we focus on the mind a lot. We're constantly in our thoughts. We're constantly thinking. And sometimes you can be so distracted in your head that you forget the matters of your heart. When you think about it, when you were a child growing up, we spoke what was on our hearts, what we felt to be true to us, our dreams, our goals, our favorite character, who we wanted to be like, that all started in our heart. And as you get older, life happens and different experiences, and then we disconnect and we start focusing on what's in our thoughts based on certain influences and people and things and perspectives and projections and all these things that keep us in our head. And the whole time, there's conflict between your thoughts, what you perceive to be true or how you perceive life, and then there's the desires, the fulfillment of our hearts. I personally believe that all human beings are aspiring to actually lead a heartfelt life, but based on what you've experienced, the things you've been taught and told, and just from how the world as a whole, we're guarded, we're protected. And so the heart is the last place that we seek refuge or our truth. And so what I've learned from my own journey, was when I was 19, I was fatally shot. And in that shooting experience, I had a conversation with God. And I remember as I was laying there dying, the mind abandoned me. All the shame, the fear, the guilt, all the things that came up, all the thoughts of shoulda, coulda, woulda, thinking about why am I in this position? What is my mom gonna say? All these different things came up for me, right? I panicked. But at the same time, I understood that I didn't want to die in that moment. And I decided to, for the first time, I had learned about meditation. I had knew about meditation, but I never really applied the practice. And in that moment, I had my first deep meditative experience. And when I closed my eyes and tried to gather myself, I knew from the experience the way I was bleeding, and I only had a certain amount of time to collect myself. I was bleeding profusely, and there was just so much blood, and the fear kicked in to overdrive. And for a moment there, I started to entertain the idea of laying here dying. And then I closed my eyes and I tried to gather myself. I knew that if I could calm myself, right, that the heart rate would slow down and maybe I wouldn't bleed out. But in that moment, as my eyes were closed, I could hear my heart beating. And I could feel the vibration of my heart in my body because it was working overtime to keep me alive. And in that moment, it made me think about life. And I was like, wow, if my heart can continue to fight for me, then I need to let go of my mind. I need to disconnect from my mind and get back into my heart. And that is what gave me a second boost, a second win, so to speak. And from that moment, I started to change the way I was thinking. I found hope. I was encouraged. And then I decided to use that time, instead of feeling shame and guilt and thinking of all the things that could go wrong, I started thinking of all the possibilities if I could hold on to life. And I give credit to my heart because it was my heart that showed me the way. And from that experience, I've learned that the heart knows, right? And I was able to have this powerful conversation with God and realize that the mind sometimes doesn't always have your best interest. And in that moment, I realized that the heart has never forsaken me. And I also realized that my heart was always giving me the signs, the directions, and which way to go in life. And so as you get a little older, when you think about it, when you think about life, when you think about the things that we aspire for, the things that we desire, if you sit with it long enough, you realize that these are the matters of your heart. The things that we actually desire, the things that we're actually chasing, or that we want to experience that create a more fulfilling life are the matters of your heart. It's not the matters of your mind, right? Because we all know that things don't fulfill us. We all know that things don't give us those deep, deep moments that we can appreciate. Sometimes it's the simplest things that just spark joy from the heart. And so I believe that the heart knows, and the heart is one of the most powerful tools that we have. And so when the brain and the heart work together, they say the human being becomes unstoppable. And anything in life that human wants to achieve is possible. You get to ask yourself, every day you wake up, are you reaching in your heart center? Are you writing down the things on your heart that you know would fulfill you and bring you more joy, more happiness, more fulfillment in life? Or only focusing on the thoughts that you have about the things? And you get to ask yourself, no one has access to your heart but you. You get to share your heart with other people, right? But your heart isn't influenced by outside perspectives or external forces. And so the heart is also a place of refuge where you can go when you need to be with yourself, be alone with yourself. The heart is also a place that will give you that sound advice, right? You think about it. You make a choice in life that may not be the best choice. The mind will criticize you. The mind will judge you. The mind will think all the thoughts. And in that same instance, does the heart speak bad to you? Has your heart ever made you feel shame? Has your heart ever guilt-tripped you? Has your heart ever blamed you for those poor relationships that didn't work out or those poor decisions? I'm sure you know the answer. So if you're watching this, I'd just like you to consider really looking at the power and the magic of your own heart center, where everything dwells. The heart only doesn't just keep you alive, it's where you thrive. So click the link below, subscribe to my YouTube channel, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment or a review. You can follow me on Instagram, LinkedIn, Spotify, Facebook, and check out my podcast.